What is up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the podcast, coming at you live from a rainy Saturday evening here in San Diego to talk to you about taking back control over your life. Now, this is a topic that I've been frankly obsessed with over the last 2 to 3 years because I started to notice that a lot of the bigger decisions that I was making in my life were being made on autopilot. And I also noticed this same exact thing happening in those around me. And this is so crucial to start thinking about, the big decisions that you make in life and also the small ones, but primarily those big life-changing decisions. How many of those decisions are being guided by your intuition, are being guided by what you know is true to yourself versus how many of those are being pushed upon you, whether that's by your family, by your friends, by society, by what you think you should be doing at a specific point in life. And it's really crucial to start digging into that, when you're making these big life decisions, because otherwise you can blink, you'll be 35 or 40 years old, you'll be in a job that you absolutely hate, you'll be in a relationship that is not satisfying to you in any way, shape, or form, you'll be living in a city that you don't want. And these are all realities that many of us face. And you can see it in people as they're walking around. They look like they are zombies. They are walking around on autopilot. They're going from point A to point B. And, you can call this the rat race, but I feel like people in 9-to-5 jobs, myself included, I'll put myself in there, you can find satisfaction in your 9-to-5 job. And you can be in the rat race, but still be operating with autonomy. And what I mean by that is that you can actively be taking control of your life path, your destiny, your life course, if you will, and not letting it just happen to you. And that the latter is what I want to caution against and what I want to talk about today, because there's so much of that happening. There's so many times where people will literally just fall into a path that is laid out for them by their family members, by what they think they should be doing at age 25, at age 30, age 35, whatever it is. And they're not really questioning why they're doing that. Is that something that they even want to do? Like, if you are now all of a sudden pursuing a law degree at age 30, is that something that you want to be doing? Is that something that you actually find true to yourself? Or is that something that your family is advocating for? Is that something that you're noticing in the social circles that you're in, you're not making enough money, so you need to go pursue something that can potentially be more rewarding financially? A lot of these things are really tricky. They're slippery. If you don't think too much about them and you just say, oh, naturally, I got my bachelor's degree, I'm going to go get my master's degree because I don't have any other options. It's like, that doesn't make sense unless you actually have a next step after that you're going to implement, that you're going to put into practice. And is that degree even required for that? And this conversation came up kind of recently with me and my family, and they were asking, what are my thoughts about going back and getting my master's? And this is something that I have thought about long and hard, because I come from a family of academics. My parents are both PhDs, and my sister has 2 master's degrees. And so for me to be the only one, kind of the black sheep with just a bachelor's degree, that pressure was inevitable. It was going to come at one point or another. And my dad brought this up. He's like, are you considering doing that? Maybe this is something that you should consider doing, a path that you should consider pursuing. And as I said, I've already thought long and hard about this. And if I was operating on autopilot, maybe this is something that I would have jumped into right after I got my bachelor's degree, or somewhere along my early career years. This is something that I would have dove into head first. But I was able to snap out of it. I was able to really think about this rationally and think, okay, is this going to offer any value to me? Is taking out $20,000 in loans, $20,000 to $30,000 in student loans to get that piece of paper, is that something that is going to level my life up? It might in certain ways. Yes, education is beautiful. Education is amazing. There's nothing wrong with getting more educated. But getting educated for the sake of getting educated, it just didn't sit right with me. And this was one moment where I realized that I had snapped out of it. I was operating autonomously. I was making decisions that were grounded in my intuition, that were based on what I knew to be right for myself. And that's what I want to advocate for people. I hope people can take that small little anecdote that I said just now about my life and expand that into a much broader horizon. Look at how your whole life is operating right now, what exactly you're doing, and who are you doing it for? And that last part is key, because if we're not careful, as I said before, we're going to blink and decades are going to go by. And next thing you know, we're going to be living a life that is not fulfilling to us. And that is literally my worst nightmare. And I think that should be everyone's worst nightmare, because I don't want to go about my entire life on autopilot. Life is too precious. Life is too short. There's too much to experience, too much to see and do out there. And if I'm not able to structure my life in the way that allows me to fulfill those desires, then I'm sorry, but it is not worth doing. It's not worth living. And there's going to be a constant give and take with this. There's going to be kind of a tug of war, I guess, because we all have to be selfless in our partnerships, and we all have to support the desires of other people, especially those closest to us. But what I'm advocating for is to not lose sight of your own. And it's so important that you continue to pursue that life of fulfillment, even if it comes with some short-term sacrifices.